by the video.
They do.
Oh,
Paul Scali,
okay.
nice to meet you.
Zoom
Paul
closer.
Scali, sorry.
Yeah, so the...
Paul, just don't turn this on, you know it's being audio and video recorded, and it's just being tape recorder, just to back up that in case there's an issue, that's all. Okay.
What's today's date?
Sixth.
6th.
Okay, today is September 6th, 2013. It's 4:24 p.m. We're at the Lynn Police Department on the second floor. My name is Sergeant Steve O'Connor. I'm with the Massachusetts State Police. I'm assigned to the Essex County District Attorney's Office. To my left, Captain Mark O'Toole, Lynn PD, who obviously you know.
Oh, we haven't met yet, but
So Captain O'Toole's left is Detective Lieutenant Norm Zook. He's a detective lieutenant assigned to the District Attorney's Office, and to your left is Attorney Dressler here, representing you. Okay. And you do know this is being audio and video recorded?
Yes.
All right, great. Can you state your name for us, please?
Paul Scali.
Can you spell your, P-A-U-L, spell your last name, Paul?
S-C-A-L-I.
S-C-A-L-I. And how old are you?
24.
And your occupation?
Patrolman
With the police department?
with the Lynn Police Department.
And how long have you been with the department?
About 2 weeks.
About 2 weeks, okay. And what shift are you assigned to?
Days.
Rotation?
9 to 5.
9 to 5 day shift. Okay. Yesterday, which would have been September 5th, Thursday, at some point in time, yesterday morning, you were sent to Old Callahan Way for a call. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, can you just, from that point on, just can you tell us what happened when you arrived, who you were with, and just kind of go with the flow of the events throughout the morning?
Okay. I was assigned to car 17, Officer Joshua Hilton. Got a call about a guy in Kings Lynn yelling and screaming outside on the street.
Mm-hmm.
And when we arrived there, we were met by Officer John Bernard. And we got out of the vehicle, and we were met by the manager there, and he said, "Yeah, this guy's been yelling and screaming for about the past hour now." But he went back into his apartment, and he told us which number it was. So then we started to walk over there, and we said, "Okay, Josh, take the back of the house just in case he runs out." And me and John, we were gonna go around front. On the way over there, we see a mailman, and he says, "There's something wrong with that guy." And I don't know. I think he's a little messed up. He was in the Army. I don't know what, PTSD or something. So we were like, okay. So as we kind of rounded the building, I could hear, the yelling from inside of the apartment, and I could hear him maybe punching something, punching a wall, stuff. I don't know, stuff breaking, and it just got louder as we walked towards the door. And then, so we then knocked on the door, and we could hear from inside, "Who the fuck is it?" So then he came over to the door. He swung open the door and kind of slammed on the wall, and he took a step forward onto the threshold and said, "You know who I am, motherfucker." And at that point, he grabs the door, swings it out, and goes to rip it shut. And John kicks it as he tries to shut it, and the door just flies open, and he kind of steps back a couple feet. And at that point, John makes his way in. I'm standing right behind him, and he's still, on his rant and stuff like that, just swearing, "Fuck you guys! Why the fuck you guys here?" And he rounds the corner into the living room, and he sits down on the couch, still, yelling and stuff at us. So I was like, all right, this guy just took a seat. So John said, "All right, go open up the back door for Josh." and a lot of men. So I turn and I go start to walk over there, and then I heard something as I was walking, and I turned around and I saw him lunge off the couch and just charge him into, there was a big flat screen TV there. He just ran right at him and kind of just bear hugged him, and they were both wrapped up. At that point I turn around and I full sprinted towards him, and right as I got to him, I heard John yell, "Gun! Gun!" And then it's just, their hands went both straight up like this, and it was both of their hands wrapped around on the firearm. So once I see that, I go up and I wrap both my hands around the barrel, and that's when we start struggling. And I hear a shot go off, and it's just, I kind of lost my hearing for a sec. I was kind of dazed after that for a bit. It went off probably right next to my ear, and everything went silent from there on out. And after that, that's when he bit me right here, as we were kind of struggling for it. And we're kind of up against the wall. I'm going into the TV. We're still kind of bumping back and forth. He's just making some strange, like, gurgling noises, and almost sounds like a dog that's kind of, I don't know, it's just our hands kind of pressed up against the wall, and we're just struggling. And I see him start to kind of gain strength, and the gun just starts to come down slowly towards me and him. And that's when we kind of pushed his arm back. And at that point, Josh came in, and I could see him out of the corner of my eye. John saw him as well. And John said, "Shoot this motherfucker, shoot this motherfucker." And I see John take a couple shots, couple punches at him. And then Josh said, "I'm gonna shoot him, I'm gonna shoot him." And then he shot him. And when he dropped to the ground, I drew my firearm because I wasn't sure if he still had it in his hand, and but it wasn't in his hand, so I put the firearm back in. John and Josh dropped down to the floor because the blood was just gushing everywhere, and I turn around and I see a kid there, just standing there. I didn't see him the whole time. That's the first time I saw him. And John said, "Get that kid out of here. Bring him upstairs." So I picked him up, and I ran upstairs. And I was kind of halfway on the stairs. He was at the top of the stairs as a child, so I was still watching them. And he was still swearing at him. I could see his arms flailing, and they were still, struggling with him. And I was still kind of on the stairs watching as the fire department got there, and they were trying to strap him to the board. He was still fighting with the firefighters, still swearing at him, still saying, "Get the fuck off me," and that's pretty much it.
You said you saw the child. Where did you first see the child? Whereabouts in the house?
He was right in front of the couch. And I saw him after the guy dropped. I turned around and I saw a kid just, I don't know if he was standing or sitting, but I didn't see him the whole time.
So, the best of your recollection of the struggle was contained to the hallway in the living room, or the living room area?
Yes.
You never entered the back of the house where the kitchen was, and then the
No.
front dining room of some sort?
No.
Yeah.
Did you, as you explained it, you went to let Josh in. Did you ever get there to let him in?
No.
Okay. So, and you saw the attack on Officer Bernard.
Right.
And then you proceeded into that, but do you know how Officer Hilton ever got in? If you know.
When I talked to him after, he said.
No, if you know. If you know.
Oh.
If you know.
No,
Okay.
I don't know how.
Okay. You said as you approached the house, you approached from the front.
Yes.
You talked to the mailman.
Yes.
Okay, and the mailman said something about that he had PTSD.
Yeah, he's been out here yelling. He's got.
Okay.
He's in the army.
And you said you had heard some signs of a disturbance inside there.
Yes.
As if items were being thrown around. Okay.
Yes.
If you had a chance to look after the incident, I think you said, was there some other damage in the house or things that appeared to have been damaged or thrown around, or?
I didn't.
You didn't see
I didn't
it?
even
Okay.
notice.
Okay.
You have a memory of two other people that you spoke to before you went into the apartment?
Yes, it was the manager, and then there was a woman with him, and he just kind of walked by the management building. Josh was talking to them, but.
If you saw him again, would you recognize him?
Yes.
And what did they tell you?
They said guy's just been screaming and yelling, you know, cars driving by, just been acting crazy out here.
Did your unit get there first, or do you know if Officer Bernard was there first?
Bernard pulled in right as we were pulling in.
Okay. And Josh talked to the people there?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you get photos of your wrist?
Yes.
The wrist bite? Yeah. No firearms training?
Do we know who took photos?
I do not.
Yeah. Do you know who took
I
photos?
believe it was Officer Frampton.
Frampton, okay.
Of your injury?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you receive any other injuries beside the wrist?
No.
How about your firearms training? Have you received that? So did you go to the academy?
Yes.
Okay, you got out of the academy and you just started.
Yes.
So you received firearm training?
In the academy.
And you passed that?
Yes.
So you were in full uniform with a badge displayed when you
Yes.
went to the front door? No, the young child, boy, girl?
Boy.
How old do you think?
Maybe 4 or 5 years old.
Now, when you first see this subject, you remember what he was wearing?
I don't.
You see his face?
It was a t-shirt. I didn't see his face.
What color was the t-shirt?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did you see his face at all?
Yes.
And you were able to assess his demeanor as far as how he was acting?
Yes.
And after you observed his face and took note of his demeanor, what were you thinking?
I thought this guy is something wrong. I don't know if he was on anything, or I could tell he just had a blank stare on his face, and it just looked very pale.
He looked angry, aggressive?
He was, yes.
I mean, when you looked at him, was that the
Yes.
sense you were getting of this guy?
It was, fist clenched, just kind of mean mug.
Now, how big was he?
I'd say probably about. Looked like he was probably 210 maybe, 22 pounds.
How tall?
A little bit taller than me, maybe 5'9".
So when you're struggling with him, what was your sense of his strength level?
Unbelievable. We had our hands wrapped around him. I thought and it just slowly started to come down. The guy was strong.
Remember what he was saying?
It was just kind of mumbling and kind of like gurgling. It was, I don't know, it was just kind of like, that.
And I may have missed it, if you can just clarify, were you struggling with him when more than one shot was fired? If you remember, if you don't remember.
I don't know how many shots were fired into the ceiling.
Okay. Do you know if there was a shot fired before you intervened?
I heard something, but I didn't
Okay.
know it was a shot.
Okay,
I didn't
okay.
know
It could have been. Okay.
Remember any verbal commands?
The only ones was gun.
No, did you have your weapon out at any time?
Only as he was falling.
Okay.
Yes, I do, yeah.
Into it.
Oh, as far as your weapon, did somebody come and look at that when the event was over?
Somebody took it.
Somebody took it, okay, and who did you give it to?
State police.
Was somebody from the state police, and where was that?
After the hospital, I came back to the station. And
Okay, and there was
switched
some-
it out there.
Okay.
Do you know, was your weapon discharged during the incident?
No.
Okay.
No, what's your memory of, just prior to the shooting, what was being said and some of the physical,
During.
Could you clarify which shooting you're referring to?
when the gentleman that started all of this, he was shot at some point,
Yes.
and there were certain verbal commands being between, I think, Officer Hilton and Officer Bernard. Do you have a memory of that?
Yes.
And what was that?
Officer Bernard said, "Shoot this motherfucker." Then Officer Hilton said, "I'm gonna shoot him. I'm gonna shoot him."
Did the positioning, how did that occur? Did you guys have to get out of the way?
Josh, he went right up to him.
Okay, so
So.
it was a close
Yes.
discharge.
Mhm.
And you were engaged at that point too?
We were still engaged.
Okay.
Paul, this is a diagram, take a peek at that, of the layout of the apartment.
Okay.
So the top box there is the first floor.
Okay.
Alright, I'm gonna give you this pen if you would mind, and just put a number 1 and circle it on the top, in the area, in the where you first encountered the subject.
Where the subject was standing.
Well, yeah, when you first encountered him, right at the, I guess at the doorway, I think you
Yes.
said the doorway.
Yes.
So just put like a number 1 and circle it, at the doorway. And then number 1 will represent the first area where you encountered the subject.
Okay.
Alright? And as you stated, and if my memory's wrong, you can certainly correct me. After you encountered him, at some point shortly after you encountered him, the subject moved into the living room area.
Yes.
Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay, can you put a number 2, where when you went to the living room, when you last saw him before you went to the back door, to open the back door, can you put a number 2 and circle it in the last position that you saw the subject? Now, what, was there a piece of furniture over in that area at all, or do you recall?
There was a couch.
Okay.
He was sitting on it.
And then, if you could put a number 3, as you're walking towards the back door, can you just point to the back, show us where the back door is?
Well, how far you got there to the back door, if you know? The back door is here.
The back door's right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right there with that.
It was probably about 3.
Yes, please, yeah. So number 3 represents, as you were heading towards the back door, that's as far as you got before you returned to assist Officer Bernard. All right, and when you, how about this, when you get back into the living room for number 4, can you tell us, put a number 4 in the area that you saw Officer Bernard and the subject struggling? And what was located? Was there a piece of furniture, or an item, or an appliance in that area, that corner?
There was a flat screen TV.
Okay. And after the altercation, when the subject was shot,
Mhm.
and he fell to the ground, can you put number 5 where he fell to the ground? And lastly, unless the lieutenant or the captain has something else, can you just show us with the number 6, I guess, where you first, after the struggle was over and he was on the ground, where you observed the child in that particular room?
Where the child was?
Where you first saw the child, yeah. In the area.
He was about
Was the child standing or sitting? Or you don't know? If you don't know, you don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
Have a blanket or anything around, do you remember?
No.
No?
He didn't have a shirt on.
When you and Officer Bernard were having a conversation with the subject, you were seated on the couch, do you remember anything that the subject was saying? Was he talking, was he engaged in dialogue with yourself, Officer Bernard, or was he anything else you remember that he may have said, or?
It's mostly just fuck you, fuck the, just kinda just babbling on.
Did he ever tell you to leave?
No.
Okay. And so he wasn't objecting to you being there, talking to him?
Correct.
Okay.
Now, did you get a chance to walk through the rest of the house after this was all over?
When I brought the child upstairs,
Yeah.
I took a look in each of the rooms.
Okay.
Make sure that there was no one in there.
Did you notice anything disturbed, disheveled, damaged, tipped over?
Just kind of a messy room, messy
Okay.
bathroom.
Okay.
Jacob, how about the kitchen?
I never went in the kitchen.
Okay. So you went right upstairs?
Right upstairs.
Okay.
So the furthest you made it to the kitchen is where you marked number 3, which is where the stairway is, basically, right? Any Tom?
I just want to clarify a couple of things, Officer. When you said that Officer Bernard struck the individual with his hand several times,
Yes.
and even after that, this individual continued to resist and was not and refused to relinquish control of the firearm. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. At no time did you feel before this individual was shot by Officer Hilton, sorry. At no time did you feel that the weapon was under control until Officer Hilton shot the suspect, is that correct?
Correct.
And even though you and Officer Bernard were both using all of your strength to attempt to gain control of the gun, you demonstrated that the suspect continued to push the gun in your direction, is that right?
Correct.
And you felt that that was presented a threat to your safety and that of the other officers?
Absolutely.
And you were concerned for your safety and that of the other officers and the civilians in the area?
Yes.
Okay. When Officer Bernard said shoot him and when Officer Hilton said I'm going to shoot him, at that time the suspect was still in control of the weapon and was still threatening you with all of his strength threatening to turn the weapon in your direction and that of the other officers, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I have nothing further.
Lieutenant? Yeah.
What do you remember about the radio transmissions?
I just remember hearing shots fired, shots fired, shots fired.
Going out over there?
Yep.
Did you make any of the transmissions? Or if you remember, did you make any transmissions during the event at all?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Is there anything that you want to put on the record that we didn't ask you think's important, that you'd like to talk about or tell us about? Or you don't have to, I'm just saying, if there's something on your mind that you want to put on the record, by all means, feel free to do so.
I don't think so.
Okay.
And I know you've been a police officer a short time. Did you grow up in Lynn?
Yes.
Okay. The subject, did you ever see him before?
No.
Okay.
Do you remember?
You've never been, I'm guessing you haven't been to that address before? Or-
No.
Okay.
Do Remember the subject saying anything about being a vet or anything about that?
No, but I asked the son, if he was in the military, and he said he was in the Army.
You in the military, Paul?
I was.
Okay. What branch?
Navy.
Okay. You ever see anybody with PTSD or exposed to anybody with those symptoms? Okay.
The TV, what's your memory of what happened with the TV?
It just, I just remember it just kind of rocking back and forth, and just, I don't know if it smashed or.
Do you remember if the screen was shattered, or ever seen the screen shattered? Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
And before you guys came to the front door, did you hear any noise in the house?
As we were walking up to the door, we came around the corner of the building. That's when I started to hear the shouting.
And what's your memory of the shouting?
It's just, it wasn't, I couldn't really comprehend any words. It's just yelling.
Yelling.
I heard like it sounded like maybe punching a wall or like stuff breaking, shattering.
All set.
Oh, thank you.
All set.
Well said.
Okay, it's, right now it's 4:49, I'm gonna go off record.
Nice to meet you.